It's the HomeTech Podcast for Friday, August 4th. From Sarasota, Florida, I'm Seth Johnson.
From Reynoldsburg, Ohio, I'm TJ Huddleston.
And from Pickering, Ontario, I'm Gavin Campbell.
And welcome to the HomeTech Podcast, a podcast all about home automation, home technology, all the good stuff, and for the first time in, 2 or 3 years, HomeTech Happy Hour. So yeah, we're bringing it back, baby. We've got information on the website that you should be able to go see and sign up and RSVP and let us know that you're coming so we can get the appropriate sized room, I guess, somewhere. That's the only problem. We don't know where we're having it yet. We just know we're going to have it. And, if somebody else is having a party, we're going to crash that. If we can't get the place, we're just going to go right in there. I think that's what we're going to do. No, we should be able to have a place, someplace near the convention center. The idea behind all of these were like, yeah. Friday night, it's a big night. Everybody goes out to the big brand parties or whatever. But you got to have a place to like come by, crash, grab a couple of drinks, meet up with people, chat for just, an hour or two, and then take off and go do all the crazy fun stuff that all the giant vendors are paying for out there. So that's what the HomeTech Happy Hour is. Just swing by, say hi, grab a drink, and then enjoy the rest of your night. And I think we're going to do it Friday. What was it? Friday
I think
September
it's the
8th. Yeah. Friday, September 8th. Sometime after the show. I think the show closes at 5:30. So let's just say 6 o'clock. Everybody meet up somewhere. And all the information will be on our website probably by the time you listen to this, because the last week's show hasn't come out yet, but we're recording this week's show. It's actually edited. I had some problems and I was out of town too. So I actually thought I did a pretty good job on the turnaround on this one. But
I don't know if I can give myself the pat on the back for that one. I don't think it counts unless you release it, Seth. I mean, the turnaround time doesn't really matter if it's not out there.
It's sitting right here in my downloads folder to be uploaded to Libsyn. So yeah, it's going to go one of these days. Probably tonight after we talk. And we teased it last week that we're going to have something, but now something will be on the website, HomeTech.fm/happy hour. Guess who will be there? TJ will be there. Gavin will be there. I will be there. We'll all be there. And you can come by, say hi, grab a drink, and have a good time. That's generally it's real laid back. It's real easy to do. Like, this is probably the easiest party you're going to go to there's no tickets. Just tell us you're coming, RSVP, so we know, how many things to big of a room to get. And I think sometimes we buy a lot of drinks. We're looking for sponsors. So if there is if you do want to sponsor the HomeTech Happy Hour, there's information on how to do that on that page as well. And we'll have a little tab for a little while, and people buy drinks on that. So it's kind of nice.
Well, I know of at least a dozen people going to see you, like personally, and there's probably many thousands that are actually going, but at least a dozen that I know of. And so if there's not a dozen people there, I'm going to be a little salty.
Yeah.
So you better show up, have a good time. Let's all hang out together.
I know like 3 or 4. Including a couple people on this phone call. So
I wasn't even counting us 3, because that's a given. We'll all be there. First time we'll all be in the same physical location. So that's going to be a good time. Seth and I have met on several occasions, and we've done this podcast for a year or 5. I don't even know how long it's been at this point.
Lost count at this point.
But I feel like I've known Gavin forever. I've just never met him in person. So I'm excited.
Yeah, it should be good. Well, the CEDIA thing is coming up soon. I guess as we're sitting here, this is the 1st of August that we're recording this on.
I mean, one month from now, I'll be in Denver. So we're going the 2nd through the 9th because I've been working like crazy this year and I want to enjoy some time with the wife. And so we're going on Saturday the 2nd. And we'll go explore the outskirts of Denver and go to all the national parks and all the kind of fun stuff. And then we'll start making our way back to Denver in time for CEDIA. So if you get there early, we'll be there the 2nd through the 9th. Send me a message and let's meet up.
Nice. And Gavin's coming in too. So I'll be there. Yeah, about a month away. I think I fly in on the Sunday before. I have booth things to do.
You got work.
We can talk about. Exactly. We can talk about the booth later. That's been a fun process.
That's basically a project update.
Yeah. It's been my my project for quite some time now. But yeah, I think I actually have to go watch them build the booth or take it apart or crate it up or something in a couple of weeks. So I'll be flying to Utah for that. Yay! But yeah. So there's that, and then September 3rd. Looks like I land there, and then I'm there all week. So it should be fun.
Nice. I'm excited. CD is always a good time. I've only been once myself, but I always see the press coverage every year. This is basically, our CES in a way. We're getting to see all the fun new integrator stuff that's coming out. You get to see all kinds of fun product demos and all that stuff that you usually don't get to see in person, because the AV world is... It's very extensive, but it's a small industry in the grand scheme of things. And so going to these conventions and trade shows and everything like that kind of gives you an idea of what's really going on. And it's easy to just kind of get wrapped up in what you do and not really pay attention to anything else that's going on. So it's a perfect opportunity to go out there and see what's available and maybe some stuff that hasn't come out yet.
Yeah, you get to see some crazy demos. Like there's this one demo here that luxury brands team up for exclusive home theater demo at 2023 CEDIA. So Gavin, this one you got to check out. Like if there's these, sometimes they set up these demo rooms, and there's there's usually the what's it called, the JBL one, synthesis, I think. That one is like a tuned theater thing. They'll set that up. It'll be just a line of people trying to go in and watch it. Go in and check these theater demos out. Like it's pretty wild what will go into these home theater setups here. But Trinov is doing one with Ascendo, Mad VR Labs, Kaleidoscape, Barco, Seymour Screen Excellence, and Officina Acustica. Demo a bunch of stuff. So that one should be pretty wild. And it's not too far from my booth. I think they said this one was at booth 4233, and I think we're like at 43 something. So basically we're going to be like, as you walk in the door, if you were to just turn right and walk all the way down to the end, that's where our booth is. And it'll be big and purple, and you probably can't miss it. So that should be... That's how you find Blackwire. Just look for the big purple booth on the end.
I'm making a list of all the booths I'm going to want to check out. I have some favorite companies there. I'm going to check them out. I'm going to be in the Blackwire booth, of course, bothering you. I'm just going to set up Home Assistant, and every hour an update will pop up and we'll click it live.
That'd be fun.
Because you have an update right now behind you and it's bugging the heck out of me.
It's been there for 2 weeks, Gavin.
It's bugging the heck.
I was saving it for you.
I just want to click it.
Well, it's a good thing that Adam Justice didn't visit this demo booth, or else we would probably be changing his home theater.
Yeah, well, I mean, I think Adam is going to be there, so
he will be.
He can slip into that and check it out if he wants. But he's kind of. I think he's set up. Like he's good to go. Maybe
that's what you think, Seth. the seats aren't in there yet, so he has time.
That's true. Well, if he should probably finish the theater before September, and then then he can go look at all the new stuff he can upgrade to, I guess. So that'd be cool. Oh man, that is too funny. So yeah, there if you go to we'll put a link in the show notes, but cdexpo.com, Gavin, there are like the floor plan. I generally go and look at that and kind of see like where things are, who's hanging at what booths I want to go to. There's also, I don't know, let's see if there is a exhibit floor plan. Where is this thing? There's a new exhibitor area or innovations area kind of off on the right. And that one is always fun. I can't remember what exactly they're calling that. Yeah. Launchpad. So there are a couple of Firewall is actually in there. So maybe I'll go check those guys out. But there's other, those are usually where the little really cool things come in and set up shop. So it's kind of cool to see what they're up to. Eslo Innovation. I think I've heard about them.
That's Old Vera.
Oh, that's right. That's why I know the name. All right. Well, hopefully we will see everyone at CEDIA this year in Denver, Colorado. Lovely Denver, Colorado. And if you're there, don't forget to sign up and swing by for the HomeTech Happy Hour. You can RSVP for that on our website, HomeTech.fm/happy hour. There is a form there that is generally fun to fill out. So I think there's like a name and your email. So if anything major happens, we can contact you and tell you, oh, don't go here, go there, or whatever. And then how many are in your party that you're going to bring along with you. And then, a little form area for like a joke or a message that you want to send to one of us guys. Because, I can't really think of anything else to put on the form other than your name, the party, and like an email address. But if you have a good joke, send it along. TJ and Gavin and I will all read them and laugh. So
out loud to everybody. So make sure you put something appropriate or really funny.
Yeah, it doesn't have to be appropriate at all.
Don't make it anything personal. We'll read it.
Yeah, exactly.
I just found the Ubiquity booth on the city floor plan.
They have a Ubiquity booth?
I'm just gonna walk up to them and say, "Hey, what's up with printers?"
They'll be like, "Sir, we don't make printers."
Yeah, they'll know what I'm talking about. I'm gonna wait for Richard. We're both gonna walk up.
No, Richard's problem solved now.
Wait, is his printer? He has a printer work problem now, right? Yeah.
I don't know why you guys have problems with printers.
And I keep buying printers.
Man, I can't believe Ubiquity has a booth. Is that normal?
They've had them in the past. Yeah, I've seen them at the show in the past. I mean, even like Plex had a booth a few years back. So it's common for these vendors to show up.
Ooh, Ubiquity is very close to C-Seed, so we can go see that very expensive TV next to the broken firmware updates from Ubiquity.
And Hunter Douglas. Oh, nice.
They got 2 booths. Fancy.
Oh.
Doorbird. I can't believe that's a company still. Love you, Doorbird.
No, I don't see the booth that they're in. We're in booth 4304. So whatever booth that they were having the awesome demo in, I think it's in the same area. If it's not, just check out there and come check out Blackwire. We're at 4304. So that'd be fun. Purple booth. All right. We got a couple of HomeTech headlines this week. A couple of small news and mostly some business related things that have popped up. So what do you say we get started?
Let's do it.
So Google has abandoned plans to upgrade its Assistant smart speakers to the Fuchsia operating system, despite earlier efforts. The Fuchsia OS powered Google's Nest Hub smart displays and had plans for smart speakers like Nest Audio, but recent code change marked all speaker hardware as unsupported. The decision is unexplained, though hardware compatibility and reported layoffs within the Fuchsia team could be factors. So the Nest Hub series remains unaffected by this change. It'll continue to run on Fuchsia and receive updates, but it seems like the in-house team and operating system won't be going out to other hardware devices in the future. So kind of interesting here. TJ, you and I were talking about this a little bit before the show. Always kind of like a rumor that Google was going to abandon Android and switch over to this Fuchsia OS, and I guess maybe they've decided they're going to. I think for most, like the Chromium OS is like where everything's headed. Like in Google, every time I hear about them doing something and canceling another project, like they're like, oh yeah, we're all in on this Chromium thing. Like we're going to that.
Yeah, and I wasn't under I was under the impression that this hasn't rolled out to any devices or anything like that, but supposedly it has rolled out to the Nest Hub Gen 2 display. But from what I understand of it, it's basically just a combination of Chrome OS and Android OS. It's not surprising to see this not come to more Google Assistant devices. I always thought that was kind of weird that was a rumor instead of just releasing new devices with this OS on there. You kind of just always assume whenever a big update like this comes out, like it's just not going to be compatible with the older stuff. And so I kept seeing rumors around that, Google Assistant devices were all going to get updated to this. It's, just a matter of time and all that kind of stuff. And that just sounded far-fetched to me, even with them releasing it to a couple devices already. So this is not surprising to me at all. Next year, you'll be able to buy a new Google smart home speaker with Fuchsia OS, I'm sure.
Yeah. So, I mean, it's just like it kind of reading through the story here. It looks like 400 people were laid off the team. So about 16% of the team. So it's a pretty decent amount. So any efforts they had towards like backporting that operating system, I guess, to older devices, probably not going to happen. I guess for the consumer, like you and I, we're not going to notice a difference. Even if they did like a Chromium type OS underneath the hood or move to Android or whatever, like the display and everything still kind of work the same.
Yeah, and that's one of those devices you're, like you said, you're not really going to notice it because you're just not interacting with it physically, right? And so as long as the speaker is still responding to you in like the same way and everything, you're not going to notice. I mean, if you were to, load a Chromebook or an Android phone or something with this software, you probably would notice a difference. But if I'm just talking to something, I'm probably not interacting with it as much. And so it's probably not going to make a big difference to me.
I never got into I never really got into Google smart home stuff just because of situations like this. Like they were constantly changing, constantly canceling. And it wasn't very stable, I found, like just in terms of just stable in terms of not changing over time so much. And this is one thing I don't like to change a lot, because it's not just me interacting with it, it's the family too. And they get upset when one small thing changes. So I like certain things to be stable.
Yeah. That's always the risk you run with Google. They've got some really cool stuff and some ideas, but the stability of that company to keep something long term is not there.
Well, keep it on our Cedia talk here. Google will be at booth 2533, so we can walk up to them and ask them about this. They won't tell us anything, but we could ask them.
I think usually they bring in their Nest thermostats and Google Home things. All right, well, on to a new product here. The Wyze has released the Wyze Battery Cam Pro, priced at $93.99, which introduces continuous battery-powered recording, but with a couple limitations. Only lasts a day max. Has micro SD card would be required, and it's they're really better suited for wired use if you're going to use this camera. The camera has 2K HDR video, radar-powered motion detection, alerts for people, pets, and more, 150 lumen spotlight, and an 80 decibel siren. Has a removable battery that you can pop out and charge. Compatibility with the Wyze solar panel as well. The camera doesn't support Wyze's free tier Cam Plus Lite. That's confusing. So it requires a $299 a month subscription. Despite the $94 price, it looks like Wyze, if you line up the Wyze features with other products like Ring and Blink, those come in near $100 for their cameras that they offer with the same features. So still offering a discount, still offering a discounted product, but it's Wyze, and it's got continuous recording for a day. If you want a wireless camera that you want to set up and record one day and one day only, they've got you covered for $100, $94, under $100.
And I like Wyze. They're a company. I find they keep innovating. They keep coming out with things. Recording for a day, I could see a use case for this. Like, you're on your job site, you just plug it up and you record. There's security. Some people record what goes on at the job site. Whether they're managers that aren't on site, they just want to make sure everyone's doing what they're supposed to be doing, et cetera, et cetera. I see uses for this. And I think it's good. The one thing about them though is over time their prices have slowly started to creep upwards, right? Like when they first came out, it was just ridiculously bottom the barrel cheap, and now they're starting to get into that range of you can consider competition, right? You can look at other cameras, and the price isn't the thing now that's giving them the edge as much as it used to be. But I still like what they're doing. They're coming out with constant devices. They have their floodlight cameras now, which actually look pretty cool too. So if you're in that ecosystem, they're giving you a lot of options.
Yeah, I think I would rebuke the price thing there, because I don't know what camera you're going to be able to buy that's battery powered for $99 that can do recording to a micro SD card. I know that there's the Eufy cameras, which are pretty popular, and I know a couple of them have micro SD card slots, but I feel like for $100, this is hard to touch compared to some of the other options.
Yeah. I guess I'm not trying to find, I'm not looking for that, that price point, but it makes sense. Like Gavin said, there are use cases for it. This isn't something I go out of my way to find and get here, I guess. But it does look like an interesting product. I always like hardwired stuff. Even the camera I just put up, it's hardwired. I could have done a wireless one, but like another Ring floodlight or even one of these Wyze floodlights. I like the hardwire. Got to power it over the cable.
Yeah, I just don't want to deal with batteries myself. I mean, especially you're down in Florida, so you get sun, pretty much every second of the day. But I'm in Ohio, where it's not sunny for maybe 2 or 3 months out of the year, just between all the clouds that are going by and snow and everything else. So like battery power to me is awful for a lot of these devices. So I personally wouldn't do it, but I can see the appeal, especially if you're like a renter, or maybe you can't run wires to the place you want a camera or something like that. There's definitely a use case for it. But I agree. I'm the person that would just run an Ethernet cable and be done with it.
It's just a temporary solution, right? That this camera would be used for. I had someone the other day ask me for something like this. They wanted a camera that they could set up basically at a site and just monitor something for the day. And this would have been, I would have recommended this then for $100, right? But it didn't exist back then. But the other camera that they did find was about $250 or something like that, Canadian dollars, right? So it has, there are people that have needs for it. I know they have specific hunting cameras. I think there's cameras hunters use to track deer or something like that.
Trail cam.
This wouldn't replace that, but it just goes to show there's some things. It's not a permanent solution though.
Yeah, I would personally get annoyed if I had to charge my device every 1 month or something. I mean, because even with the continuous recording off, you're still gonna. They say 6-month battery life, but this seems like a far-fetched idea if you're actually using it. Yeah.
Yeah.
6 months and there's no movement and it doesn't have to process anything. And the
you never try to live view it or anything.
Right. 6 months for that. Just kind of in a low energy state. 6 months.
There's no tree branches in the frame or anything like that. Cars never drive by.
You never even think about it.
Yeah.
It does have some interesting specs. IP65 rated, outdoor temperature down to -20 to +50. So
that is impressive.
Yeah, it is actually impressive. But the battery's not going to last very long at those temperature differentials. So, interesting. An interesting product. We'll give them that, especially for $94. And I'm looking at the picture of this thing. It's ugly as all get out, but it's mostly battery. Like they have the battery leaned up next to it. So to explain why it looks the way it does, it's because it's basically all battery. All right, let's move on here. I've got another new product, Nice, from Nice, which is either a trail mix at Walgreens or it's a home automation company. And it's in this case, it's the home automation company because that's what we talk about. They are introducing and debuting a line of custom smart sunshades, which are expanding offerings in the home automation systems. The Sunshades by Nice includes indoor and outdoor options with various mounting choices and solutions for complex needs like skylights, angled windows, and motors can support up to windows up to 18 feet and offer quiet, durable, and reliable performance. According to the press release here, the Sunshades can be integrated into the Nice home automation system, management system, and come with a variety of motor options. Kind of a cool product. TJ, I think you're a Nice dealer, right? Like, I guess Nice still kind of has, it's like a bunch of brands, not just Nice, right? It's like Elan, I think, is part of that group, right?
Yeah, you got Elan and Nortec and some
Nortec,
others, Speakercraft and a couple others, I believe. It's interesting to see this come out. I don't think I would switch to this from my Hunter Douglas or my Lutron that I currently use. I think they're probably about the same price as the Hunter Douglas, maybe even getting closer to the Lutron ones. I haven't done a deep dive into it, but I kind of got a heads up that it was coming out. Good idea if you're already in the Nice or the Elan ecosystem, but I feel like this is a hard sell otherwise. I've heard that they're quieter than Lutron shades, but I feel like that's probably not true.
It's like,
because Lutron shades are ultra quiet. I mean,
we were joking around. And it's like, well, maybe we can add like quarters or something or some rocks inside of it, so like it would just like roll around in there and make noise as it was coming down. Because Lutron's very quiet.
Yeah, it's always good whenever you demo them to a client. They're like, "Are they going down?" You're like, "Yeah," because you can tell because they're moving.
Yeah, exactly. And the motors come in AC, DC, and battery, as well as wired in RF. So it looks like you have quite a bit of options when it comes to these. So that's kind of nice.
Yeah, it's always good to see more people getting into shades, though. I feel like for me, we already see a lot of cheaper shades, or I guess more mass-produced smart shades. I'm not really sure how to word that, but I feel like smart shades and lighting are kind of one of those last frontiers that needs to be crossed for professional to like DIY automation. You know, we're starting to get there with the various hubs and the security cameras and all that good stuff, but shades are one of those things that are still ridiculously expensive. You can find some cheaper options like the IKEA ones. There's a bunch of Z-Wave options like the zebra blinds and stuff like that. But I mean, just to do like my den, for example, I have 7 windows in my den, and I was looking at getting those automated, and just for IKEA blinds, it's like $1,400. And like, that's a lot of money, but that's nowhere near as much as it could be with somebody like Lutron or Hunter Douglas or something like that. So
$1,400 a window.
Yeah, I mean, so you're not even close at that point. So I mean, it's interesting to see these companies come out with smart shades, because I think it's one of those final frontiers, and not that Nice is a consumer facing brand by any means. But the more that these companies come out with shades, the cheaper they'll become, because it'll drive competition.
Totally agree with what TJ's saying. Like the DIY space, I've seen a lot of retrofit options, you know, where you can buy the motor, slide it into the pole, and they open up and close. But yeah, my Hunter Douglas, just in my kitchen, probably costs more than everything else in my house that I've done together, right? Like,
yeah.
You know, and even for that, I really hated the part where I was having a hard time just buying parts for it, because I had to go through a dealer. You know, I couldn't get certain things myself, even the hub for it. At that time, they told me I had to go through a dealer, and the dealer had no clue what I was talking about. When I asked them about automation, they had no clue. And I ended up grabbing the hub off some guy that was trying to unload 10 of them, you know, on Marketplace and for $50. And it's been pretty good, but it's expensive. And I wish they came out with cheaper options. IKEA, you've mentioned IKEA. IKEA's right now, I think, one of the cheaper ones, but they don't offer a lot of customization. Like, you can get sizes, and I think there's a couple colors, but it's not something I would put in my kitchen either, right? So it's good to see more options coming.
I think the one that has the most options is still the Serena shades by Lutron. I mean, you can really get in, and they have a number of the common fabrics and everything that get commercially used. And there's probably a few more out there now, because Serena's been out for a while, but it's kind of nice because it integrates with the Lutron ecosystem, and you can control it with just about anything. So,
and it's Lutron, so it'll just work forever.
Yeah, and my Hunter Douglas, like, one time I extended it too far and it fell off, right? Yeah, it happens, right? I was adjusting it, went too far, the thing fell off. But when it fell off, I finally saw the end of the roll. I'm like, this is just a shade that is pretty much like duct tape to this moving motor.
Yep.
And I paid so much for that. And I'm like, technically, if I got that motor, I could just get my hands on some shade and then build my own if I wanted to. Right? Like, it's very simple, but I think they're just like, they mark it up high, and I don't know. I guess it's the shade. I don't know if it's the shade that's the high cost, or is it the technology that's the high cost? I'm not sure.
It's none of it. I can tell you that. What is the most high cost is messing it up.
It fell right off.
Well, no, because then there's labor involved in putting that together. But it's like you said, it's a roller tube with a motor inside of it that's got some fabric taped to it, and it rolls up and down. Yay. That's really not hard to do.
Yeah.
But you have to cut the fabric to length. You have to make sure the measurements are right. You have to measure a window in 3 or 4 different places to make sure that it's square and plumb all the way down. Like, there's all sorts of things that go into this. And then, like you're saying, like with the Hunter Douglas, like they get a custom made shade for that, right? It's not like one from IKEA where, oh, you want a shade? It's we come in 2 sizes, and you know, that's on you, not on us. But I think like with the Hunter Douglas, like if somebody messed up a measurement, or if it didn't fall exactly how far down that they said it was going to fall, like there's a problem. And that's where I think a lot of the markup comes into, is like the mess ups and that kind of thing. Because really it's the labor and everything on these products is really where most of the effort goes in. Like, it's they're not exactly easy to install a lot of times.
I did the install myself for the Hunter Douglas. I don't know why I guess I now see why the lady didn't want to, but I was like, listen, I could put these up, I'll just come pick them up from you, maybe I should have paid for the install.
Yeah. And I think there's only like a handful of companies that actually make the fabric for these shades as well. Like, I don't think it's and they all pretty much, from what I know of, a lot of the automatic shade companies get their fabric from the same companies. And so that you don't have like a huge selection.
Yeah, like Mermet is one of them. Colis is another. There are actually build houses that are sometimes local to you where you can go in and select a fabric and just build a custom shade with a motor if you need to. So like those still exist, and I use those extensively. We just had the Mermet book and used the e-screen, which I think is what Lutron calls their economy shade thing. It's like if you just needed a black shade or a blackout shade, you would use that kind of thing. So like if you knew the fabrics, and I did it one time like 10 years ago, you could match the Lutron, what they renamed it to what the fabrics were that they bought them from. So it's an interesting industry, and kind of one that just kind of sits off to the side. Not anybody, like you said, it's still a frontier. There's no major player in it right now, other than, I guess, the fabric companies, because there's only 2 or 3 of them. They're the ones making all the money. All right, let's move on here. Got some business news. We've got AVPro Global acquiring AudioControl this week. Kind of a big news. They're going to rebrand the, I guess, AudioControl division as AudioControl Pro and expand the reach into residential and commercial audio video distribution markets. AVPro's existing brands, including AVPro Edge and Meridio, complement the acquisition because those are basically HDMI and only video, and AudioControl is mostly audio. So AudioControl product line has power amplifiers, AV processors, receivers, and more. So this is really actually pretty good for AVPro. I had a little heads up for this towards the end of last week, and while I was on vacation, and got a little text message from someone telling me like, hey, AVPro is going to buy AudioControl, and it's closing on Monday, so it should be a fun week. But yeah, this is kind of interesting. These are 2 big brands, and at least in the high end pro market, and it's not always good to see consolidation. But I don't think that, I think these brands are like in sync with each other. Like, these are 2 really good cultured companies that like just demand excellence out of their products. So I'm actually happy about this one. This I think this one's actually pretty good. Gavin, what do you have to say about these 2 high-end companies you probably never even heard of?
Never even heard of them. So I'm just going to pass the mic over to TJ.
That assumes that I've heard of them as well. So I can't really say anything on this one.
Wait, you haven't heard of AVPro or AudioControl?
No, AVPro I've heard of, but AudioControl I don't have any experience with. So
yeah, they make some high-end receivers, multi-channel amplifiers, and that kind of thing. Kind of along in the Anthem lineup and that kind of thing. Like, if you kind of see them kind of playing in the same market. So it'll be interesting to see what they do with these guys.
I agree.
I concur.
Why didn't you concur? All right. Well, we also have some streaming news, because we haven't had streaming news in a while, but we all know that they're not doing great. In Q2 2023, Peacock, NBC Universal streaming service, gained 2 million subscribers, totaling 24 million, but faced $651 million in losses. This follows a pattern of losses with an expected $3 billion loss this year. $3 billion loss this year. Peacock's revenue grew by 85%, driving ads in its premium tier, and the platform increased ad-supported pricing from up to $5.99 a month and Premium Plus to $11.99 a month. And despite the losses, the parent company Comcast exceeded Wall Street expectations. How does this work? How does this work?
Can somebody just give me hundreds of millions of dollars to piss away? I mean, is that possible? I barely even got a mortgage a little while ago. So people are just blowing up $650 million on streaming services that nobody actually wants.
$43 billion on social networks. This is ridiculous.
And I feel like Sony is the only intelligent company out of this whole streaming business, because Sony just keeps leasing their stuff to all the streaming services. Sony, I mean, they have they had some kind of PlayStation TV service. I think they shut it down or something.
Oh yeah, they shut it down pretty early. Yeah, it's really odd to say, but yes, Sony has been the smartest one in this whole thing. They took their catalog. They said, we have a catalog. We have everything.
We have
here
Spider-Man.
That
That's it. I mean,
Spider-Man. Yeah. Well, I mean, they do. Sony Pictures does exist.
30 different versions of Spider-Man. Which one do you want?
But they basically have taken that and like you said, rented it out or leased it out or whatever you call it to the streaming services where they can run the programming on their networks, and they don't lose money. They don't have like hardware and stuff to keep up with and server costs, and they just sell the product like they have always done. And they keep making money. They're doing really well off of all the streaming debacle that's going on.
Well, the problem is, I mean, like I don't think this tactic. So technology companies usually have this tactic where they'll make something free or inexpensive for 6 months or a year or whatever it is, just to get a lot of people, and then they'll put advertisements and all that kind of stuff to actually make money because the investors call and they say, hey, we want our investment back, do something about it. But streaming services are a little more tricky just because, like, unless you're getting a lot of content from other people, then your content has to be original or it has to be stuff that you've bought. And if everybody has their own streaming service, why are they going to give you access to their catalog? And so you're basically stuck in the whole Netflix thing where you just have to keep on creating new content, or there's no reason to have your streaming service.
Yeah.
And so I don't use Peacock myself. Maybe they have a couple original stuff that they've made, but I don't know about Peacock. And that's a problem because you need a lot of viewers in order to make your money back on this stuff. And that's obviously not working for Peacock.
I don't know anybody personally that has Peacock as a subscription.
Yeah, nobody ever talks about it. Like, you Peacock and chill. I mean, nobody says that.
I was watching a show the other day. It was on Peacock, and when my friends asked me where can I watch it, I said Peacock. They were like, "What?" I said Peacock Plus, and they were like, "Oh,
what is that?"
No, they had no clue. They have no clue.
What is on Peacock? I have no idea.
Don't they get the Star Trek now in Canada? Isn't it They just got the Star Trek.
I mean, it's in NBC, so they have, I'm sure, all the NBC shows that they have just been replaying constantly. Yeah, I guess they have some recent movies like Renfield that's in there, but I don't know. I can't think of anything that's like I'd need to go out of my way to see on this thing. And what a weird name for an app.
I'm mixing them up with Paramount. See, I'm getting so confused now.
Good luck to all these billions of dollars being lost in streaming services. I really do enjoy like the streaming services just because it's easy to subscribe to one, watch what you want to watch, unsubscribe for the next month. I guess that's not the best business model, and that's why they all kind of are having problems right now. But again, it's like TJ said, it's like you've got to produce compelling content or buy it from somewhere. And there's not many not many companies that have done that. Like I've had HBO in the past, but I turn that off when like they don't come up with anything compelling to watch. Netflix, I think, kind of sticks around because it always eventually has stuff that comes through. And then Apple TV does have good shows, and some of the good shows are starting to come back now. But I am I don't know if I would pay for that outside of the Apple subscription thing that I already have that like bundles it all in. But good for them. Like if they're making money off of it, who knows if they are? They probably are. It's Apple.
No, I'm pretty sure that, for that amount of money lost, they probably had it on the books that they were expecting to lose a significant amount this year. I don't think they just lost this by accident. And that's probably why you said Comcast had record profits or whatever. They probably expected this, and they're hoping to probably make it up next year or over the next 5 years, and they'll probably add ads and raise prices and do what they have to do to get it back.
Yeah, the problem with streaming services compared to cable is that, cable, they always did the tiered packages. So you add on sports for this and you add on whatever movie channels you wanted for this price. But the base package, you always got, 200 channels. And so you always knew that you're going to get Discovery and Disney and all this other stuff that existed. But the problem with streaming is that you have to go and sign up for all these individual services by yourself and willingly. And so unless you know that this stuff exists, you're never going to accidentally stumble across it or anything like that. You might go to the App Store for your Roku or your Apple TV, and you might see Peacock on there, but you're not going to be like, oh, well, let's just check that out and see what that's about. Like, you have to have a reason to go click on it. And I think that's what a lot of these companies are missing with the streaming services, is that there's nothing compelling that makes me want to sign up for this unless I hear somebody else talking about a show that they watched on it.
Yeah, like Gavin telling his friends to go check out Peacock Plus or whatever.
And that's a perfect example. And they didn't even want to check it out at that point. They were just like, nope, that's too much effort.
Yep. Well, it looks like this may be all like, at this point, like, I think when you get to talk these billions of dollars, it's all funny money anyway. Like, they're just doing it for the stock and to dig some taxes, because I'm like reading this article and it's like, well, they're not too worried about it because Comcast is going to receive $9 million for its Hulu, like it's selling off Hulu to Disney, and they're going to get $9 billion. So yeah, a $3 billion loss is going to really hit that $9 billion, and they're not going to have to pay as much taxes on it, or they'll have to hide some more money somewhere. So yeah, like, what do they care if they lose money on this stuff? Again, it's all funny money at this point. Like, they're just gaming the system somewhere, and what do they care if they lose money on it, because it's a tax write-off for something else they're doing somewhere else in this business. Especially
Comcast, where they're making all that money on that sweet 10G network they just launched.
Oh man, somebody's going to sue them. Somebody should sue them. All right. Well, all the links and topics we discussed tonight can be found over our show notes at HomeTech.fm/446. All right. You got a funny picture of the week. I ran across this as Gavin was talking about printing things, and this guy made basically the light plate switch from hell, if you're feeling around in the dark for it. I really don't know how to describe this thing. It is just like they have printed extra light switches on the light switch plate. So like if you go and are feeling around on the wall, you would have to like find your way through this maze of light switches to actually find the one that actually does switch. It's kind of an evil thing to do.
You should bring some of these to Cedia, Gavin. We can swap them out in random places like airports and stuff. Like those fake sticker outlet things that they put in airports sometimes, You got to like plug into the outlet and you can't because it's a wall.
What would have made this better is if they kind of offset it a bit and then made all the switches actually functional. So you flip one and then you have to find the actual one to flip.
Just remix it. Oh, there's 4 remixes. Let's see if somebody did that, Gavin. I don't see anybody that did that, but that's a perfect opportunity for you to get your Tinkercad on.
Oh, yeah.
What would be really, really good with this? Like, if they did move, that would be awesome. But I think they also should offset the screw hole, so this thing always will be crooked, no matter what you do. Like, it always has to be mounted crooked. I think that.
Wow, you're evil.
I think
that's evil.
Too far.
That's evil. Yeah. We'll offset those screw holes and send Richard one.
And I posted this, and then Gavin, you found a Frankenstein light switch, kind of in the same vein of this thing. And this is actually cool. This is if you had one of those toggle switches. And not one of these evil plates that exist. You put this on and it gives you the throw switch from the Frankenstein movies, where you walk in the room and you just throw your lights on, and it will click in and I guess make a nice little sound as it turns your lights on. It's kind of cool.
And the best part about that one is they have like 2-gang and 3-gang versions of it. If you scroll over.
Oh my gosh, I didn't see that.
Like the single gang looks cool, but when you start looking at the 2 and 3 gang, it's even more interesting.
Somebody needs to make one of those 6-gang things for this.
Oh my gosh, could you imagine?
Just keep going out with it.
Just flip the lever.
All of them. That's too good. Yeah, well, beautiful. I love it. This one's actually really good. I could see this one being used somewhere. If you have any comments, feedback, picks of the weeks, or great ideas for the show, give us a shout. Our email address is feedback@HomeTech.fm, or you can visit HomeTech.fm/feedback and fill out the online form. All right, project updates. I don't have any updates. I've been on vacation and building a booth, which I guess I can talk about. That's a project in and of itself. But Gavin, you've got fresh air. What's that about?
Yeah, so this week I picked up one of the IKEA air purifiers. You can integrate them with Home Assistant. They have, I think it's Zigbee, works great in terms of the integration and everything. And for the first time since, I guess the forest fire starts, my home's air quality index has dropped to a good level. So this is a good thing, right? Like, and not just in my office here where I have the air purifier, but we opened up the windows and like throughout the house, it's now air quality is dropped. It's gotten much better. So it's good to see. I don't know if the fires have probably gone down. They're not as bad as they used to be, but, for a while, it took a while. Like when those kicked in, the air quality index just spiked and it was bad for a number of months and it took a while to clear up. So it was worth the investment on the air purifier. I can instantly feel a difference, like it's weird to say. But like when the air quality was bad, you actually felt it. And now that it's good again and, it's actually, I feel it again. So I have it kind of automated so that when I'm in my office, like if the windows are closed, I'm in my office and the air quality is at a certain level, it kicks in. Right. And then when I leave my office after a certain amount of time, it will actually turn off itself again. Right. So it's nice when you have things automated like that so you don't have to think about it.
Cool. I'm just going through articles. I had to do a Google search for, is Canada still on fire? And it looks like it is. That's
last week. It was so hot. We felt like we were on fire, but it cooled off this week a bit. We got a lot of rain too. So that's helping in our area. But I know there's still a lot of forest fires going on. Yeah,
it looks like there's still like a large amount of haze hanging over, being pushed down and hanging over south of Toronto, mostly in like Pennsylvania, Virginia, West Virginia, and Kentucky. Michigan's pretty well covered too. So looks like it's out there. And there's a bunch out west in the United States and Canada both. So that's, oh, wow. And if you scroll up, Canada has a lot.
The whole country's on fire.
Yeah, like Alberta, Saskatchewan, however you say that.
It'll start snowing next month. So hopefully no more wildfires then.
Oh, that'd be nice.
We got a lot of land.
It's all burned now.
It's just making room to grow back.
Yeah, I guess so. It's a natural process. TJ, you got down here TJ's rack. What's going on with your rack, man?
Well, so when you buy a house, you got all the electronics that you have to put in the house in order to make it yours. And especially if it's your first house, there's a lot of stuff that you haven't been able to install in your previous places. So you kind of go overboard. And so one of the things I went overboard on is a 19U rack, I think, mounted next to my electrical panel, hanging above my dryer. And, I told the wife that it was going to happen whenever I was doing it. And then I got it up and she was like, does it really have to be that big? And I was like, yeah, it's got to hold all my electronics. And so I've been kind of just throwing stuff in the rack for the moment. Like it's literally just been thrown on the bottom. I got the rack installed and then there's been other projects going on. You buy a house and you got to dig up the backyard to put drainage in and install a medicine cabinet and whatever else you have going on. So the electronics aren't, priority as long as they're working. And so today I decided to go ahead and make that a priority. And I started getting all the stuff organized in there. I've got the Unified Dream Machine Special Edition with the PoE. I've got a Unify 16-port PoE switch, and all my various other electronics like the Flume water detector, my EcoWit hub, my Home Assistant micro PC, and some other things. And I've realized that I don't have any room for my battery backup and my Plex server.
Bigger rack.
So
bigger rack.
Well, I can't really do a bigger rack because I like to be able to use the dryer.
2 small racks.
And so we'll just have to figure something out. Maybe the Plex server will go in the office or something like that. But
you just get a clothesline. I mean, that's
just hanging up from the clothesline.
Yeah, outside. Yeah.
But it's starting to get there. It's not all the way completed. I've got a couple keystone things coming tomorrow, like a fiber one and some binding posts for my speakers and some other goodies that'll be installed. So once I actually get it wrapped up, I'll send pictures over, and that way nobody can criticize me for my sloppy work so far.
There you go. It takes me back to memories of, was it last year when I was building out my rack? I think it was, and I was going through this whole thing, and my first decision is I just wanted to go with a big rack because I know I'd fill it, right? And I have 38U or 42U rack, and I filled up the whole front's full now. And I'm already starting on the back. I've added a few things. Well, when Seth pointed out to me that I could mount things on the back and I never thought of it, I was like, great, I could buy more things. So, I've been buying USB, rack mounted USB switches, stuff like that for the back. And you can never have enough rack space. So get another rack.
Yeah, I think I'll probably end up doing something. The problem with the current setup is that I'm pretty sure the wall that the rack is mounted on is made out of wet cardboard.
Oh,
And so like it's not the strongest wall in the world. And I feel like if I put my current Plex server on there, it would all just fall and probably rip the wall out. Because the Plex server, I mean, it's what like a 4U case
Yep.
with 8 hard drives in it. So it weighs quite a bit by itself. And especially if I had a battery backup, which I definitely would not plug anything, or would not plug my Plex server into like just regular outlet. It would definitely be battery backed up. But by the time I had the battery backup and the Plex server, the wall would fall off my house and I would have to rebuild it. So I'll approach that at some point. I'm not really missing Plex at the moment. I've got probably the most streaming services I've had in quite a while. And so I'm fine there, and not worrying about Unraid and Plex has been kind of nice, to be honest. So
no excitement in your life.
I know.
yeah, all my stuff's just working. It's kind of crazy. Even my printer, Gavin.
That's not what we're here for. We enjoy things breaking down, that one switch that won't turn on for whatever reason. That's what makes our day. It's like, yes, I fixed it.
Well, he's got enough Unify in there. If he buys a printer, he'll have problems.
Yeah.
My printer works great.
He
It has no
hardwires
problems
his
on
printer
Wi-Fi.
though, so
No,
you'll
it's
be.
actually been Wi-Fi for the past 3 months, Gavin.
Oh, I hate you.
No, it's only a matter of time.
I just talked nice to my printer, and I didn't buy another printer in front of it. So,
I bought it a baby printer. It's a photo printer. It sits right next to it. It's like a little child.
oh, well, that's why yours doesn't work.
Yeah.
Then. I think it's being replaced.
With something newer and smaller,
That's
younger.
right. I see how it is. I give you years of service.
It prints color.
Wow, that's funny. It's funny. Well, it look your rack looks like my rack that I have in my forbidden closet of mystery, as I tell my daughter. Like, you can't go in there.
Don't look at it.
And yeah, don't go in there. It's a forbidden closet of mystery, and she keeps trying to go in there. That's when I hooked up that camera this last weekend. I have a punch down block for it. I was going to punch everything down, and I didn't do it. I just put an end on it and plugged it in, like drug it around the front of the rack and
Like
plugged
an
it in.
animal.
Yeah, like an animal. So one day I'll get back to that. But right now there's a big white cable that just kind of drapes over the front of the printer and it goes to the PoE switch. So that'll be how it is for a little while until I get annoyed and have to go in there. But yeah, my rack is just an absolute mess because of a few projects that I've done and not cleaned up at all. And the bigger problem is I've worked on the rack in here a lot more in the garage with all the server stuff in it. And I kind of want to move the stuff that's in there over here and relocate my ONT to where it's closer to this rack so I can put a battery backup on it and have fiber, right up to the rack where there's no like Cat 5 or Cat 6, I guess, running between things. And it's just a lot of work. That involves digging and, digging up the old fiber line that was in the somebody else put in the yard and figuring out where they put it. So that project may take a while. I should probably just clean the rack up. It's a mess.
That's a problem for future Seth.
Yeah, future Seth will deal with it.
Or your daughter if she inherits it. So
It's a forbidden closet. She's not allowed to go in there.
never.
All she knows is she asked me for one or two pieces of white paper and I have to go pull them out of the printer in there. That's all she really knows exists in there. And then, I've been working on a booth. I think we talked about it a little bit at the beginning of the show. These Cedia booths are fun. We're doing a big one. And I've got like a tower, and we were going to do a big giant video wall, which would have been awesome to do. Unfortunately, like the timing didn't quite work out for us, and having it delivered and everything wasn't going to really jive with what I expected it to have. Like it's cutting it too close. Like what if something happens and then we have no video wall? So I actually have we were already doing some pixel LED work anyway, for some of the linear lighting to make like effect lighting around the booth. So I was like, wait a minute, I'll just do a big pixel LED wall and temporarily put it where the video wall was going to go, and cover it with fabric so it kind of diffuses it and make a nice little artwork out of it. So hopefully that's what everybody will see at the show, is a nice big giant thing that I can put color and fun stuff on. I don't know how it's going to work out. We'll have to see when everything gets assembled and the fabric goes over the top and that kind of thing. We'll have to see what it looks like, but I'm hoping it'll look nice. But no video wall this year. Hopefully next year we'll get the video wall.
Is this the booth that you've shared the mock-up of, or is that a future booth?
No, yeah, that would be that booth. Yeah. There's like a 16-foot tower on it. So like on that 16-foot tower, you're going to do like a 50-inch video wall that we have spec'd out for there. I don't remember exactly what the diagonal of it was. But let's just say it's a big video wall. And unfortunately, it just didn't line up for this year or at this show. So hopefully we'll be able to do it another one. There's a lot that goes into that. A lot of like labor and knowing things and coordination and like the install of it's not exactly like it's a permanent video wall and we're taking it like on the road. That's, probably not what it was designed for. So yeah, it's kind of one of those things is like, well, if we do this, we're going to make sure we do it right. And I kind of wanted to wait. So we're going to order it, put it in our office, play around with it, see what it does, and then put it in the booth next year, I think.
Well, the mock-ups you've shared are really nice looking, and it'll be a little better than the folding table that you had at Infocom. So
thanks.
A little more professional,
I did measure this thing and figure out that the video wall and the pixel LED wall, like the matrix, I guess, will fit within a 10-foot booth. So if I ever do a 10-foot booth again, I could just take that entire backdrop that I have for this 16-foot tower thing and just put it up as the backdrop for, whatever's behind us. I don't think it'd be look as good, but it's an option. It'll fit barely, but it'll fit. That's all that matters. It should be fun. There is a rack in the booth too, which is, another part of my problems. I have to fill this rack full of equipment that we have. And it's like, so annoying. There's a lot that goes into a booth that turns out it's just not fun work. So
I'm exhausted just hearing about it. So
it's been my life for the last month and probably the next month. So yay. Come to CDIA and see this stupid booth that I've been working on. It has nothing to do with phone technology except what's in it. So, and I'll be hanging out there probably most of the time. So, I think it's probably going to wrap up this week. Anybody got anything else? All right, well, we do want to give a big thank you to everyone who supports the show, but especially those who are able to support the show financially through our Patreon page. If you don't know about the Patreon page, head on over to HomeTech.fm/support to learn how you can support HomeTech for as little as $1 a month. Any pledge over $5 a month gets you a big shout out here on the show, but every single pledge gets you an invite to our private Slack chat, the hub, where you and other supporters of the show can go in there and talk every day about, I don't know, all sorts of stuff what were you guys talking about earlier? Wi-Fi names, like boring or fun Wi-Fi names. What do you guys go with? Mine is just Wi-Fi. Like I have the boring one. Now when I'm on the road, it's more colorful. Like, my travel routers have a different Wi-Fi name that will probably be illegal in certain states in the near future. But, what about you guys? What do you guys use for your, is it a funny name? Is it creative? Or do you guys use a boring one like me?
I'm boring. I just went with HomeNet. That's all. That's HomeNet guest. That's it. My neighbors are more exciting.
Yeah. Until we moved into the house, mine was just the company name Connect You. But then, which made it super easy because then I would make like my test networks the same Wi-Fi. So my devices would automatically connect and then I would switch it over to the real Wi-Fi name for the client. But now since we moved in, I've renamed it, just something a little nicer, so.
Yeah, I had the same, the main SSID on the travel router is the same as the home router. So I just plug that in. Everybody's device is connected. I don't have to go around telling everybody how to connect or, you're supposed to be connected to this Wi-Fi, that kind of thing. But yeah, there's also a funny one that I broadcast. It's political in nature. Just leave it at that.
Ooh, you're going to jail in Florida, right?
You never know. But anyway, go into the hub. Tell us what your fun Wi-Fi, SSID is. Not your password, unless you want to share your password. That could be fun too. Everybody knows it's going to be 123456789 because that's what everybody uses for their password. So, anyway, if you want to help out the show but can't support financially, totally understand. Just appreciate a 5-star review on iTunes or a positive rating in the podcast app of your choice. That's going to wrap up another week of home technology news here. Everybody have a great weekend, and we will see you next week.
Bye.
Take care.
Oh, yeah. HomeTech Happy Hour. Don't forget. Go sign up.
Yeah, come out.
See you there.